Hello and welcome to this episode of In Tune, Conversations with Creators of Music. I'm your host, Adam, aka Anotix. So grateful to be here today on episode number 2. I've got a great conversation. However, before I get into that, I want to say a special thanks to everyone who listened to week number 1. If you subscribed and left a positive rate and review, I really appreciate you. It was really fun to get some positive feedback. If you're not liking it, then send me a personal email and tell me why. If you have a suggestion for who you would like to see on the show, I've got about 3 or 4 more guests lined up right now. I'm trying to do an episode a week. However, if there's an artist you would like to see that is reasonable, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get Taylor Swift on the show. I'm sorry about that. However, if there is someone local you would like me to have a conversation with, please send them to mgmt@projectanotix.com. Speaking on that, if you go to the show notes, which everything in these shows will be linked in the show notes, projectanotix.com, a little bit about it. That is me trying to do this crazy thing where I want to go from never having fully produced an EDM track all the way to performing at one of the world's most iconic venues, Red Rocks Amphitheater in Morrison, Colorado. So if you can go to projectanotix.com and join my weekly newsletter, I really appreciate it because I need all the help and support I can get. If you're interested in that, I'll be doing weekly YouTube videos, social media stuff. I've done some cool stuff. I've actually hired IMPERIVM, who we're going to be talking to in a second. I'll tell you that. He's been giving me some DJ lessons, some Ableton lessons. So I'll be featuring some stuff. It's really fun. I'm starting this crazy journey, and if you can join me and support me, I appreciate it. In return, I will send you these exclusive episodes a few days early so you can hear your favorite conversations before anybody else, and as well as some other cool tidbits and weekly updates and all that stuff. So anyway, back on track. This conversation is with my friend IMPERIVM, also known as Win. He would say that is his government name, but we'll just refer to him as IMPERIVM. Me and IMPERIVM go way back, about 8 or 9 years ago, where we were both working at corporate Verizon. I was doing hip-hop music at the time. I bought a camera to start making my own music videos, ended up falling in love with video and starting my own production company. However, during the time we were both in love with music, he bought this laptop, and anytime there wasn't a customer in the store, he'd be producing on Ableton, was showing me some stuff. We actually ended up making a song together, which we talk about, and I will also link in the show notes. And it's just been really cool to see where his journey has taken him. He is now a full-time musician. He is leading, or I guess part of the movement in leading the Phonk movement, which is Phonk. Him and his label, they put on this show every month at the Black Box in Denver called Phonk Around and Find Out. So definitely check that out if you're in the Denver area. If you want to familiarize yourself with Phonk music, definitely check out IMPERIVM. He's a wizard at it. So anyway, I won't take up too much more of your time. I will get into this conversation. Thank you again for being here and for being the most important part of this show and listening in. And yeah, look forward to sharing all these conversations with you. Let's get into this one with IMPERIVM.
I'm from Louisiana originally. Moved here in 2015 in Colorado. I'm in Denver Metro. Know this fine gentleman through our prior place of employment. Soul sucking motherfucking job, but I met good people, so fuck it. Yeah, I got fired from Verizon in 2018, and then decided to finally like deep dive into music. I don't know if you remember, but I joined Ill Gates' producer dojo in spring 2018, and basically like answered a lot of questions, connected a lot of dots, drew a lot of concept bridges and shit that I was not. And it's like you can feel like you have good ideas, right? Like you can theory craft all day, but then like if you build a gingerbread house and it, like cool, the idea of building a gingerbread mansion was there, but it's not, and it's falling apart. Like the idea was there, but the end result isn't. And like the dojo helped connect a lot of that for me, excuse me. And so it like that riding unemployment for 6 months was like, okay, fuck it, you got 6 months, dog. Like, and if you don't feel like you've ramped, gone on some non-linear but linear like trajectory with production, learned some things and like made this feel like Okay, look at a SoundCloud tune of Imperium's from 2013, and then look at one in 2018. What's the difference? Oh, okay, cool, tangible. I stayed in that for a few years. COVID happened. Um, I've gone through a lot of genre switches. Now I'm in Phonk. I run Phonk Run and Find Out. Well, I help start and help run Phonk Run and Find Out. It's our label.
Nice. Yeah, give us the plug.
Um, yes, we're the only one on the internet. Yeah, it won't be hard to find us. Um, we started an event, and it was to put people on. You know, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about us. We would always do opening back-to-backs. And that would be my set. If I had like a headliner I got, like let's say it's you, and let's say you're insert headliner, Phonk headliner here that I want, you know, like I'll get, and I booked you because there's 3 of us. And you're my idea. I booked you. Yeah, I might put myself as direct support one fucking time, you know, but that'll be the only time in 6, 8 months that you see that. So that we did that for 2 years. Went on tour in 23, summer of 23. 24, we kind of tapered back, but the shows are more impactful. And then we just did our 3-year party last Friday, January 9th. And it was a gas. And we're looking to potentially tour again this year. So my journey's been interesting, you know, like
Yeah.
music, like dubstep, trap, funk, like I don't know. I'm happy where I'm at though. Like this has been the most fulfilling part of the Imperium project so far.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Hi.
Oh, no, that's great, that's great. Remember when we made that dubstep hip hop track? I totally
Yeah. LimeWire.
Yeah, Lime
Oh fucking dude, is this song on SoundCloud?
yeah, I've gotta pull that up because I just thought about that. I totally forgot we had done
Oh
that.
dude, no, I mean like I always think about that whenever we like communicate. I'm like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah, so Ben and I were essentially me and you were doing music at Verizon, so anytime we'd have downtime, we both bought like, I remember buying our laptops around the same time. You bought a MacBook Pro, and then I bought a MacBook Pro,
I
and
just share Ableton.
yep, and we would just sit there anytime there wouldn't be any customers, and we're trying to learn Ableton. You obviously took it way further. I was in the hip hop world. I had done vocals, so I had only really had desire to even just do vocals. So it was really cool when we finally linked up on that track. But I didn't realize you got fired from Verizon. What the hell happened there?
Staples fired me. He
Oh,
called
really?
me,
God.
yeah, he called me into the office one day. He was super cavalier about it too. It was wild. He called me into the office and like you know, we knew those phones. It was like the business phone with all the buttons, you know, and like we knew what like the blinking lights and shit meant at that time, right? Excuse me. And I walk in and it's basically on hold. You know, whatever the light that's blinking is like, hey, like, oh, sorry. It's like, oh, this is on hold. I'm trying to find a routine. And oh yes, Limelight featuring AKA.
That's what it was. Like,
We'll play that later.
I think you have to run the audio into the Zoom in order to play it. But I'll link it in the show notes for sure. People got to check that out, man.
Or you can just add it after. Anyway, yeah, Staples calls me in and fucking I don't know if you remember Karina. She was the HR, like the HR lady's HR lady. You know what I mean? And she's on the phone and like she was bad. Like you only met her at like the one corporate event or you know what I mean? Like the one like big fucking like district meeting at Park Meadows, you know, like that type of shit. And she's on the phone. He comes in, he just walks in, fucking sits in his chair, spins it, boom, hits the button. He's like, all right, Kurt, now I got winning here. And I'm like, sick. They had to pull up 18 months of metrics of like, I missed TMP, I missed hum, I missed ARD, I missed activation. You know what I mean? And it was like, you missed this month, and then you missed that this month, and then 18 months of it.
For everyone who know what that means, that those are very Verizon words, metrics. Yeah, for the
The insurance, I didn't sell enough insurance. I didn't activate enough people. I didn't hum some stupid like fucking Verizon's into the auto industry now. They'll put a fucking thing in your car, and it kind of fucks actually if you actually do get in a sticky situation. But it sucks to sell at a cell phone store because nobody's walking in for that. And then like, yeah, no, just piece by piece, like nitpick it. So, yeah, yep,
Well, it's interesting because our journeys started around the same time. So as far as that goes, but it's different directions. Like we both left Verizon and then went in these directions that were much more geared towards our passions. You know, you used the unemployment, essentially said, okay, well, 6 months, what the fuck else am I going to do except for make some music? That's great. And then I actually left Verizon to pursue a video production company, and Lord knows I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out, and here I am. So it's really interesting. I guess I want to touch on
$1,000 camera later.
right. Well, everyone at Verizon thought I was fucking crazy because I would come in like every paycheck, I would buy a new piece of camera equipment. I remember I bought a $2,500 lens, and I walked in, and everyone was like, "What the hell is this?"
Resembling the armory, dude.
And now it's wild because I have a lot of those people that have reached out and be like, "Well, I've seen you go from that," and so it's really cool. What about the creative process for you? What inspired you? Why music? Let's go into that. Why did you choose music? Because for me, I love creating. I've realized that I just whether it's video, whether it's music, but why does music speak to you? Why did you take that journey?
All right, now we're going into Imperium Volume 1 origin stories here.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5th grade, I always wanted to play sax. I remember hearing like my mom listened to this radio station 99.9 back home where I'm from, KTDY. And at the time the slogan was like the best of the 80s, 90s, and today. And like I just like they used to have this thing, polyester power hour. And it was usually the time when she would drive me to school. And there's a lot of horn instruments, you know. Um, and then I decided I just wanted to play the fucking saxophone. And 5th grade, um, long like I went through two middle schools because like I was out of zone and like I was technically gifted, whatever the fuck that means, right? You know me. Uh, but so I was gifted, and so I had to do this gifted program, and like anyway, so I'm at this one school, start band. I'm like, not top chair saxophone. I end up having to do arts academy for the other middle school I'm trying to go to, and saxophone. Going to high school band, saxophone, march saxophone. Ended up playing bass clarinet because they needed a bass clarinet and symphonic band, same fingerings as saxophone, so that was cool. Um, Stepped away from creating music and doing music in college because I just wanted to enjoy a fucking football game for once. When you're in high school band, you're just so fast forward, start raving, and I'm coming back from New Orleans one night in November 1st, following weekend. This Voodoo Music Festival. Skrillex plays one night. Bass Nectar, when he was still not an adulterer, but was probably adultering, plays one night, and then 3 nights of Voodoo Music Fest. So I'm there all of it. I probably sleep like 6 to 8 hours the whole weekend. Driving back from New Orleans, and somewhere after I cross the Mississippi Bridge, past Baton Rouge, fall asleep at the wheel, swerve off, where my car rams into a tree, break my femur. I shouldn't be alive. Engine block comes in and crushes my femur. So now I'm at home at my mom's house, cast on my leg, all this. And I'm just like, I'm gonna become a DJ because I want to throw the party instead. I can't go to the party, so I'm gonna throw the party. Order a Newmark controller, Newmark Mixtrack Pro. Download Virtual DJ with it. Best program. Best DJ program. And within the year started learning to produce, and I like fell back in love with music again. I realized I fell out of love in terms of creation, but then through that, and really like the moral of the story is, again, welcome to my TED Talk. Moral of the story is like, it's some Phoenix shit, like I was at one of the lowest points in my life ever. I should have died. I've been given a second chance at life. Let's see what we want to fucking do then, right?
I love that, and it's interesting that you came You mean you were obviously doing music during Verizon, but then you had this, like, other part where
Yeah,
you
but it was a void because I wasn't connected.
rising again. It's like it's that journey.
And yeah, I mean, like leaving Verizon, leaving my stable job that moved me out here because I worked for them in Louisiana. And one of the first questions in my interview was, "How long does it take to get a transfer?" Because I knew I wanted to come out here into Denver. And not no shade New Orleans, but like the New Orleans music scene's a little cliquey. And if you don't want to rub those elbows and grease those palms, then like your opportunity might not be great. Here in Denver, it changed that for me, but I wasn't getting out. When you and I met, when you and I made that track, like those years, I didn't meet people until I got fired from Verizon.
Mm.
Where I just had this DJ meetup in February, a month before, and then like my buddy arranges all these locals, Fort Collins, Denver, Boulder, uh, Springs, all that. We met this bar. A couple of these guys are still my best friends. Like, yeah, there's some of my personal connections that we talked about earlier are known through people that I met that night. Um, so yeah, I mean, like that was when I was like, okay, cool. Like now I know people. Now we can start playing out.
Yeah.
I used to run events back in Lafayette, Louisiana. So coming here and not doing anything, and working 40 hours a week, like I didn't have the passion. It wasn't until 2018 that I was like,
Talk
okay,
about these
cool.
guys that
You're
you
getting back.
Yeah, you're talking about these guys that you met at this DJ meetup. Are these some of the guys that you're doing the funk stuff with? A little bit before we started this conversation, you were telling me about this event that you put on, the funk thing. Or actually, no, you talked about it during the beginning of this conversation too. Tell me a little bit more about that. Why funk? Who are these guys you met? What drove you in this direction?
Yeah. So, dubstep, carrot key, trap, carrot key, parentheses, lo-fi, carrot key, funk is like my musical genre journey of like what Imperium wanted to create, produce, represent as. Um, Dubstep is super pretentious with sound design stuff. No offense, guys. Y'all do great shit, but I just couldn't do it. I'm not trying to fucking talk about how original my fucking snare is, dude. Yeah, like it's a fucking sample. Like I didn't make the snare. Okay, fuck off. Anyway, so trap. About that time is when I was like trap, like super trap heavy. And even felt like meeting all these bass people. Denver's the bass capital. Meeting all these dubstep bass music producers, it's like I felt like the outsider anyway because I was making trap, but they fucked with me. Everybody fucks with trap. Like 1:37 a.m. on a Saturday night, and somebody starts playing some Troy Boy. Like, come on. I'm not saying Troy Boy is, but Uzi would be like if I had to pick it. Anyway, Phonk came from one summer at a music festival, Sonic Bloom, 2019, and we're chilling at camp, and I'm talking about I wish there was, instead of a dichotomy of trap and lo-fi, I wish that I could just do them both. I wish I could be married. And with he's like, "Oh, wait, say less," and then pulls up, DJ Young Vamp, Blessing. And that came out in 2016. Funk was very much is even so still very much an internet genre, SoundCloud, YouTube genre. Um, and he shows me the song, and I'm just like, "Oh fuck, it can be done, but you have to do it right."
Yeah.
Because I was making lo-fi, but like I kind of refused to use sub and like 808 because like boom bap lo-fi it doesn't really need that. You just give it a boomy fucking kick drum, and like the boom of the kick drum itself is enough. You don't need to have the of a sub or something like that, right? Um, so I'm just like, oh fuck. I started to try diddling it, a little bit here, a little bit there. And then finally I'm just like 2020, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start trying to make funk. Fuck it. I fuck with this genre. Like this is what I want to listen to all day, anytime, like washing my dishes, taking a shower, taking a shit, any intimate times, which any intimate times, you know, like driving to work, walking your dog, showing your mom. That's the star part, you know, like if I can show my mom this music and she fucks with it because I used the fucking OJ sample and she doesn't fuck with rap, so like fuck the Young Dolph part, but if I can show my mom an OJ's sample and she fucks with it, undefeated, right? Like, so I don't know. That's kind of how we got into it. I found my buddy Devin, old homie from that group. We both found out somehow that we both like Phonk. We come over, we hang out, smoke weed, and make a Phonk tune. And then he's just like, "Well, I really wish we could play this out." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I mean, we could. I don't want to do it at this venue. I'm not going to name you venue, so you're lucky there. But yeah, I don't want to do it at this venue. I could get us into the black box, maybe, but I could talk to Corey. Corey fucks with me. This is a very long story, dude. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Fucks with me because I played a show in 2019, left my USB at the black box, and then he messages me at like 4:37 in the morning, like, "Yo, dude, I have your USB, but it's in the office, so I'm keeping it safe." I'm like, "Dude, take whatever you want from it. Just keep it secret, keep it safe." And he's like, "Honestly, all I want is your um, Kid Cudi Day and Night flip. Can you send that?" I'm like, "Bro, everything's available for free on Bandcamp." And for some reason, like, that triggered Corey, but at the same time, like, gave him so much respect for me because he was like, "Nobody's ever told me this, but he's not wrong." You know, like, usually when you ask that, you want that email, like, that direct download, and it's like, "Dude, just go download from Bandcamp. Hit that 0. No, name your price. It's name your price. Hit that 0, download it." Like, uh, and so I asked him if we could, the most ambiguous way possible, "Hey, man, could we maybe, like, I have this idea. Maybe we could maybe quite possibly someday in the future, whenever it works out for you, no pressure, like, this is just an idea, maybe do a funk night." And he just replies all caps, "Bruh," like 3 lines of H's, you know? I'm just like, he's like, "I've been waiting for you to ask me this." I'm like, "Wait, really?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been listening, like, where you're at, like, I fuck with this shit, you know, let's do it." Started the monthly in 2022, and then we did two years of monthlies at the Black Box Lounge, and like I said, went on tour, did all that. So yeah, it was an idea of like, let's maybe try this, and we tried it in the bass capital, and now we have the bass underground tapped into funk, and it's just beautiful.
Mm, that's so cool. I mean, I didn't even know what funk was until I had heard your stuff, to be honest. And as someone who is I've been going to raves since I was 14 years old and have listened to all sorts of electronic type music and been in music and all that. I just thought it was the name of your event for a while. It's like, oh, funk around and find out or whatever. It's like,
Yeah. Like we're just playing a yeah, no, and like that's the thing. It's like if I would have heard Phonk, like if I would have heard DJ Young Vamp Blessing in 2016 when it came out, I probably would have just called it chill trap.
mm,
That would have been like, you know, what I would have called it, you know, or like lo-fi trap. You know, I mean, I would have just tried to and but it's been around. It takes tropes from Chop and Screw, it takes tropes from like Memphis rap, G-Funk, um you know, so, like, it takes, like it's very, very much is a hip hop genre, but we're like, the other side of it is we're just a bunch of dudes making beats and throwing fucking rap samples on it. But there's different avenues. There's Wave, you know, like, shout out Skeller, shout out Back When, shout out Escape, um, and many more Wave artists that I'm not thinking about right now, but, like, Skeller is kinda one of the kings of Wave right now, and, like, he'll take it's just like these really dynamic synth-driven tracks, you know, like dun 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 dun, and then, like, he'll throw some fucking Memphis vocal on it. So it's still, like, adjacent, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many pieces to this pie of funk, like, Drift Funk got really, like, popular, like, if you only heard about funk through TikTok, you don't know what funk is because it was, like, the drift and it's, like, 808 cowbell driven. So instead of using like a synth or a melody or a sample, like some whatever, ding 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 ding, like it's like an 808 tuned cowbell as like your, it's bad, bro. And they're distorted, and then like the 808s are, it's bad. And like that, like how Yokai 44 or Yokai 404, how Spotify is killing funk. Look it up, YouTube. That explains that whole thing. And so it's like I did something like every genre I did was obscure. But now I'm about to take some really fucking obscure shit, and we're about to take it from inside to outside. And that's bigger than me. That's bigger than Imperium. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck around and find out success is win success.
Mm.
Right? And, on the one hand, like, fuck Imperium in that regard, but like, the Imperium doesn't matter if fuck around and find out becomes like the de facto people to hit up when you want some funk outside, you know? So like, and I'm proud of that, man. Like, this has been the most fulfilling, most not thankless, right? But, and I don't mean like we don't get accolades and props, but it's like thankless in terms of like, we're flying so under the radar with this and gaining the success that we are. And this has been the most fulfilling thing that I've done, like as a musician, you know?
It's interesting you go into that because I was literally about to ask you, how do you define your success as a musician? And just even hearing you talk about it and hearing that what you're doing is so much bigger than than who you are as just a musician. This sounds like you really have passion. I can hear it in your voice about this movement, about what you guys are doing. But yeah, again, how do you measure success as a musician? Because a lot of people might think it's, oh, I'm playing the top festival, I'm making all this money off of music and all this stuff. However, it seems to me that you're already making it as a successful musician in this sense that you have this movement that really feels near and dear to your heart, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to unpack for me to be able to answer that. But if that's okay. So like, first thing I'll say is if I did this shit for money, I would have stopped back in 2012 when I started it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're not making money when you start, but it's like if you go into the mindset of trying to do it for money, you're not gonna, it's got to be from the heart. Like, and so with the the what defines the success part of it is kind of defying odds. Um, I don't want to go too much into like my personal life, but my music career is arguably like my like biggest like self-built, like the only thing I've built for myself in my life as far as
Entrepreneur.
being being able to prove that like this is what this is the results that I have produced, and so Imperium's been that, and then starting Funk Around and Find Out, and then the success that it's seen. It's like it's just like wow. And like I remember in that 2018, looping back to that 2018 thing, and like meeting those people, I remember having a conversation with a couple of them, and a couple of them have followed the not the advice, but the trope of the story that like, we all want to be in the limelight. The name of our track, which is funny. We all want to be in the limelight, but what if you're better at something else that isn't that, and your greatest strength is not being an artist on stage. Your greatest strength is promoting, or your greatest strength is artist management, or your greatest strength is being a conduit to bring people together for, you know what I mean? Like just whatever that is. And so like now one of my buddies runs a label, Subsidy. Shout out to Elias. But like that like seeing him do that and put aside his DJ career and like trying to be a producer, like is like what that is. And it's like for me, I kind of have to listen to that advice now. It's like, yeah, Imperium's cool. I make cool music. I hate a lot of it, but it's okay. Um, what if what if being a label boss is my greatest strength and not being an individual artist, you know?
No,
And that's something that I have to like think about. And like that's how I've been able to separate the two, Imperium from Walk Around and Find Out, you know?
no, I mean, that's a great way to look at it. It's kind of what happened to me when I gave up music. The last time I gave it up was like, I had to look at it as I've been good in business and I was able to start this business. And although I had to leave music, I guess I didn't have to leave music behind, but I found this other path that allowed me to stay creative and get that out. And then now, as I revisit it, I'm like, damn, I wish I still would have put some more energy into the music. But what you're saying is that some people, and this is what I'm learning as I dive more into the industry, there are people who actually, ghost produce songs for other people because that's what they're good at. They produce the song, so then someone who's better at going out and promoting and marketing it can actually go and be that person. And there's all these different layers to supporting in the music industry. I'd love to hear because I'm not starting out as a musician. I've been doing that forever, but I'm starting out from scratch and there's going to be a lot of people as far as new producers, new DJs, maybe along those lines. What advice would you give to someone that is just starting out, whether it's in production or in the music industry, as a DJ, anything that comes to mind when I say that?
First of all, you don't want this shit. You don't want this smoke. Let's say that right off bat. Like you don't want this smoke. For me personally, just personal like, vulnerability with all this shit. Um, it's something that you're like, that what you're doing is subjective. Tight. You're making dubstep in 2012. Okay, now you're making trap in 2015, 2014, and now you're making funk. And like all of that in those timelines at those times, you're having to explain to people what the fuck it is, right? You're like you're everything you're doing is so subjective. Excuse me. It's beer. Got a couple. Like everything you're doing is so subjective, and like me personally, like I seek validation, you know, and like validation comes from a lot of things, the verbal, the pats on the back, the play counts, the likes, the reposts. Um, it's not easy. And if you like just before I even go into all that, like if you have issues with self-doubt, you don't want to smoke. You know what I mean? And but no, man, like what makes me want to do it? Like, or what advice do I have for people that want to do it? Um, anything you do, like if you're gonna try to produce, anything you do, it's not about releasing it. It's not about getting plays. It's not about like it. Like honestly, other people shouldn't hear it. Like you're just throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. You're just trying to find a formula. You're trying to learn the program. If you got handed a fucking Craftsman toolbox at 6 years old and you don't know what the fuck to do, and you're told to do such and such, like what do like you don't. So it's like that's kind of like learn the shit. Make shit. Make a lot of shit, Have you heard the pottery teacher story?
No, hit me.
So there's a pottery teacher, he divides his class into 2 groups, quantity group and quality group, okay? The quantity group has to just pump out pots. They need to make the most amount of pots. Doesn't matter. Just make pots. Quality group has to make one single pot, and it has to be the best fucking thing, best fucking pot ever, right? Quality group spends all semester theory crafting what the fuck the perfect pot is. Quantity group is pumping out pots. By the end of the semester, pottery teacher goes to evaluate everyone, and quality group presents their one pot, and the quantity group shows all of their treasure trove of pots they've made. And teacher looks and sees a pot in that pile of pots, and he's like, "This is better than that." Obviously, a subjective statement because art is fucking subjective. But the quality group produced the quantity group produced a higher quality pot than the quality group. So what I'm saying is make shit. Walk through the trenches, walk through the mud, like make shit. And then finally you're gonna fucking make a really good pot, you know?
I mean, I feel that 100%. When I started off making music, I was 15 years old. I had a 2003, 2002 MacBook. That was my parents'. It was one of this white original
Yep.
MacBook
Yeah, yeah, and they're like this thick, yeah.
microphone in it, and I opened up GarageBand, and I was big into hip hop at the time, and I just started writing lyrics and writing these. I think I went by the Caterpillar Killer was my name because we were at the skate park and I ran over this caterpillar and on accident. And my friend goes, "Dude, you're the Caterpillar Killer." And so like I took that name and started making these hip hop raps. I
Hard mode.
out like I say thousands, but it's probably hundreds of songs just sitting on my bed at night while my parents were sleeping and just like rapping into this microphone acapellas. I didn't know where to get a beat. I didn't know any about that. So I just wrote acapellas and put it, and then I would like go to my friends and show them these like shitty acapellas.
Yeah.
I made at least 1,000 songs before I ever made a song that was I was like, "Whoa, this is good." Yeah, like, so I love that story. That's really cool, man. Yeah, that resonates a lot.
And like that's one of the biggest things first is like don't get like more the real moral of the story, you know, not the summarized version. The real moral of the story is don't get discouraged because you're not good at it yet, you know? Like if you'd have told me 10 years ago, which is, you know, January 2015, like that I'm going to be doing this, like, whoa, you know what I mean? Making this music of this quality and you know, I'm still learning. I'm still getting better. I learned some shit that I've already changed on this new album that's coming out on Valentine's Day. So it's like you're always learning, you're always getting better, but you can't be afraid of sucking as much as you want the validation, as much as you want the appreciation, the flowers, all of it. Like be comfortable making shit that sucks. Even with DJing, right? Like be comfortable train wrecking while you're learning how to DJ. Fucking straight up, dude. Like honestly, learn to DJ with 128 BPM house music. Like it's the easiest way to fucking learn to A/B mix, learn technicals, and then cool. Now you want to go into some look bass, you want to go into some fucking font, whatever. Cool, do it. But like 128, it doesn't change. And for the most part, that's the easiest way to like learn how to DJ. Also teach Dave Ableton and DJ lessons. Hit me up. But yeah, I mean, like you can learn. There's a lot of great resources on the internet. Um, you know, the dojo. Highly do recommend the producer dojo if you are into bass music. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many resources, but like you can't allow yourself to get discouraged because you suck right now. That's like the biggest part.
No, it's huge because the validation, what you're talking about, and the subjectiveness of art. It was really hard when I was making music and I was putting it out and I was actually gaining traction. Is I would hear one person say, "Dude, this is the best fucking song you've ever made," and then someone else be like, "This is garbage." And
Right.
it's hard, especially like as a vocalist. It was really hard for me because it wasn't that I was everything I was pouring in there, that was my voice. So if someone told me they didn't like this song that I wrote down and then performing, it was a stab at me. And so it was really hard. So when you say that if you have a sliver of self-doubt, you either need to back away from this or you need to find a way to manage it. And I've found some ways to help me and just understand that, you know what, like you said, when you make music, it's not Rick Rubin says the crowd comes or the listener comes last, essentially. You should be making music for yourself. You should be making music. That's the reason you're making it. If you're making it for any other reason, you're fucked, right? Like it's you may gain some success for it, but people are going to eventually see through that. And you have to make it for yourself. What's next for you in your music journey?
Um, I mean, I'm hoping to have a big year, you know. I mean, we always gotta tell ourselves affirmations and like, you're great, you're gonna. I'm hoping to have a bigger year. We're, you know, after the 3-year anniversary party of my label. I'm not saying I'm as an artist, I'm riding on the coattails of my label, but I mean, they're mutually exclusive. You know what I mean. So it's like we're trying to look for festival takeovers this summer, this festival season, I should say. Phonk around to find out, you know, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever the fuck it is, like a Phonk. Um, obviously we'd plug ourselves, but you know, we'll get our best artists on as well. Um, we're hoping for that. We just put out our volume 2. I'm just looking to come out, like I'm trying to break out, like, and more particularly in the funk community. I don't need a Grammy to feel good about my music career. I just want to be accepted and acknowledged in the community that I'm creating in. And like, you know, I'm not gonna say funk is like so niche that it's like, you know, everybody just at Civil War or anything. Like it's not like hip hop circle jerk on Reddit or anything. But like, um, you know, I've also realized too, and been confirmed by bigger profound funk artists than me. Um, I'm in my own lane too, you know, like I'm out here sampling gospel and then like throwing Young Dolph on it, you know, like I'm not saying like that's a formula, don't steal my fucking formula, but like also too, like it's just like the way like the type of funk that I produce is like reminiscent of like rare funk, OG funk, that DJ Young Vamp Blessing era of funk. Um, like that, but I've done it my own way as any artist does. Um, I'm looking to break out. I'm looking to let people know who the fuck I am, let people know what the fuck I do. And if you haven't found out, then you need to start fucking around.
Walk around and find out, baby.
Yeah.
It's been a great conversation, man. I just have one final question that I ask all the artists on here. And it is if you could collaborate with any artist, any musician, alive or dead, who are you working with?
Can I give like a top 5?
Last guy did top three. So yeah,
Top 3. Let's do top 3. I'll do top 3. We'll meet there. Frank Sinatra. I want to say Bob Marley, but like really, I really want to say Lee Scratch Perry from like the music production side. And Jay Dilla. And I know these are all dead people, right? But yeah, like that's if it's top 3, like that would be amazing. Like if I could be a fly on the wall. I mean, there's many more. If you give me 10, like we can keep going. But it's like those 3, like if I could get that voice of Frank on a mic, if I could get the production aspects of how archaic it was at the time in the 80s when Lee Scratch Perry was doing it and doing all the dub shit. And then what was my last one? What did I say?
Oh, sorry. You said Lee Scratch Perry, and then why am I drawing a blank?
Oh yeah, why am I drawing a blank? This is bad. We need to roll this back. Dude, cut this out. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, no, it's like Jay Dilla. Fuck, shit, Jay Dilla, and working with Jay Dilla. There, cut all that out. And working with Jay Dilla, would be great because of the way that he's able to utilize the mileage of a sample. Like, there's a video on YouTube. I'll send it to you. If you haven't seen it, I want you to watch this genuinely. And it's basically like how you would take a sample, you take a loop, and then how he humanized his NPC. And he would just fucking band pass like tough parts of the fucking sample, and it sounds completely different over here than it does over here in the EQ spectrum. And so he's able to just ride that bass line, or then he's able to ride that fucking, melody. Um, Learning those techniques from him, and again, even at the archaic time of beat production, and the way he did it, yeah, that would be crazy too. Like Jay Dilla's wild.
Love it, man. Thank you for sharing that. Any final thoughts before we head out of here?
Uh, I love you, man. I'm sorry I went on a lot of TED Talks tonight, but this is great. Thank you for letting me share my story. Thank you for being a friend across all these years. And I'm proud of you too, man. Like, if the roles were reversed and you know we had a Funk Around and Find Out show, yeah, like that would be tight because your journey has been very similar, but also different. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud of your new family. Um, and yeah, if you don't funk around, you don't find out.
I appreciate that, man. Those are some kind words, and it's been fun watching your journey as well, and just seeing all the things that you've got going, and watching going all the way from, again, back in the Verizon days, and just amazing how life
Yeah,
is changing.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hell yeah, bro. This has
Awesome.
been good.
Thank you for sharing this conversation with me.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to check out the show notes down below where you can learn more about today's artist, as well as go to projectanautics.com and join the weekly newsletter where you can follow me on my crazy music journey. And I will also be giving you exclusive content, including these episodes, a few days early, so you won't want to miss that. If you are enjoying the conversations, please leave a positive rate and review wherever you're listening to this. It really helps me out. If you are someone you know would like to be on the show, please send me an email, mgmt@projectanautics.com. Looking forward to sharing more conversations with you, and I really hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the next episode.